Anyways, here we go into the game. We have our purple undead Cuddle spawning at the top right on Concealed Hill, and he is going a Fiend Opener. And at the bottom left, we have our orange orc Etaphraven, currently sitting 2-0 in his group. And we'll see whether he opts to go for barracks here. He does, so it is going to be a grunt opener, no fast tech, no headhunter opener. And now the next question is, will it be a Blade Master or a Farseer? For the undead, so far, you know, standard Fiend build. I mean, this build isn't always standard, but this is the standard way to do this build. And it will usually be a Death Knight. Some people still play this sort of build with a Crypt Lord rather than a Ghoul build, but typically it will be a Death Knight. He has the relics coming. No Acolyte yet. I believe sometimes you have to kind of delay it if you do it at all with this sort of build. I think oftentimes they actually won't Acolyte Scout with this build. They want all of their 20 food available at the start. Yeah, it is going to be the Death Knight. So, Blade Master, Death Knight. I felt this was the logical outcome, but we could have definitely seen a Farseer or Crypt Lord still. And Etaphraven is going for the 21 food peon, so he shouldn't have too much wood trouble, especially if this peon manages to survive after scouting. First Fiend is out. See what item he gets. It is the Gloves of Haste. Okay item. Blade does already attack fast, but you know, it's okay. And Cuddle, on the other hand, getting a lot of damage in on this peon. I think Etaphraven isn't paying too much attention to it, and he will lose it here. And the Death Knight is out, so that's 25 XP for our undead player. Not bad. He did, however, forget to pick up his rod, and is now very, very sad. But, oh, we see an interesting play. Opts for the TP sell. You will not typically see a Death Knight Fiend build sell a TP because you oftentimes need a TP, especially against a Blade. So this is very risky, but maybe the gold advantage will help him. And he seems to be doing a different build for Undead, which is he's getting a late 6th Acolyte. He's queued up a 3rd Ziggurat and more Fiends, and we might actually see some sort of tower push, potentially. I am unsure, or maybe just a lot of Fiends early, which could make it so selling that TP is not as scary when you have a big mass of Fiends. Etaphraven decided to try to steal the item, but the Undead was still nearby. The Undead actually wanted to creep this first, but as we saw, forgot his rod, and then it resulted in this scenario. Yeah, now Raven just trying to get his salve off, steal an item if he can. But Coil comes out, and our Undead, because of that peon kill earlier, has actually already reached level 2. Very huge for him. Our Blade Master, on the other hand, still level 1. Because of the burrow after the tech, he still is only at 1 grunt. So he will not be able to accomplish much, and we see it is likely going to be a tower push. But Etaphraven has scouted it. He saw the 2 ghouls pulled, he saw the Acolyte, he saw the 5 Fiends. Unsummoned. No tech. Oh my god. I do not know what's going to happen. And this is good, picking off the Acolytes on the way, but a Coil does come out to save it. Second Acolyte has also arrived, and this grunt getting that weak that early is a problem. This Fiend honestly can get a lot of value by canceling these salves too. prevented a salve on the blade. Acolyte could get a hit attack off here. Yeah, this tower push is actually going to be really scary for our orc player. He does not have a war mill, so there will not be counter towers or demolishers. However, he has picked up a Beastmaster, Quill Beast rather than Bear. Quill Beast can definitely be good because you can summon more, but Bear with its normal damage may have been better here, I'm not sure. Maybe even a Fire Lord and try to get a split off could have been strong. Or a Naga to just focus down the Death Knight right away. But yeah, we do see Blade Master level 2, but Grunts dropping weak, Coil coming out. And this Undead has taken a very strong position so far. Orc not prepared. His second burrow was late because he went for a quick tech. He just does not have enough units. It'll be up to primarily the Blade to do something here. And he needs to keep this shop alive. Once this shop dies, his Blade's effectiveness is going to drop a lot. Another Quill coming out, but the Beastmaster is effectively and actually dead now. He had no mana either. All the Grunts are gone except for one at 200 health. And there's just not much left here for the Orc. I am not seeing how he defends this. There's no War Mill set up. He can bring out some Peons to fight, but most of them currently loaded up in the burrow, and with just one Grunt, no Raiders along the way, this is going to be rough for our Orc player. Raiders can definitely do okay here, but not so much when there's this high account of units. Does still have some mana to work with on the Blade Master. Beastmaster and the Quill are back alive, but a very rough position for our Orc player. And Death Knight has also reached level 3, did go for Coil level 2, although he does not currently have mana to really work with. Maybe could have even seen Unholy Hour level 2 for this sort of push. Yeah, we see some nice focus on the Fiend, should get that one pick off, but after the speed scroll ends, it's going to be really hard to do much else. And we do see the War Mill finally coming up, but with a burrow getting picked off, just not much he can do. And at the tail end of that, at the top, I heard the Blade Master die. Not sure if he got enough mana for a coil or just kind of giving up at that time. But man, that I started to get an inkling that that might be what the Undead was going for when I saw third Ziggurat and, you know, Fiend skewed up. But it looked strong, especially against the Orc build that did not utilize Headhunters and did not utilize earlier Grunts. It was instead a fast tech, one burrow. Well, a fairly fast tech, you know, faster than some builds at least. Oh, whoops, I pressed the wrong button. Let's see. It's going to just be this too. Yes. And yeah, very strong showing by Cuddle there. It was a little sketchy at the start when you first see his Death Knight comes out and he's like heading to the creep, and then, you know, a few seconds later he realizes, where's my rod? But, you know, he found his rod, he regrouped himself and just, you know, got the level 2 on his Death Knight with a couple, or like one camp, one item from the other camp, and the Peon kill. That Peon kill actually helped quite a bit. Otherwise, the Undead would have had to kill another creep and delay the push longer potentially. But yeah, with those unsummons on, what was it, the altar and I think the relics, he just had a lot of extra gold to spend on all those towers, the fiends, and manages to take the win. Okay, let me update this. Should be... Okay. At the top right, we once again have our purple undead going the fiend build. Will be interesting to see if he tries the same sort of strategy or if he changes it up and goes for creeping instead. And at the bottom left, we have our red orc Etaphraven. He's not happy about that loss, and we see the war mill put up in response. This is going to likely be a Farseer Headhunter build, so he does not want any of that tower build nonsense, and he's going to put a stop to it right away. This build should be more effective, I believe, because you have a lot more units to work with on your side, and you're a lot better equipped to set up towers in your own base, get demolishers, because you have a war mill already. Oftentimes this sort of build will also get a second burrow sooner, and yeah, like I said, you just have a higher unit count because of that. He can still keep track of keep tabs on the undead as well with a Farseer harass. And because of this, if Cuddle realizes and sees the Farseer, I believe he may opt for something different if he has not already decided on just a normal tech. We do see the second Ziggurat, so he's not going to hold off at 20 food and tech first. Instead, he wants to be able to produce beyond 20 food as soon as possible. Sometimes undeads will just have the one Ziggurat, get their tech off first, and then start producing the other Ziggurat to push past two fiends. Etaphraven going for a creep steal. I believe even with wolves, you're still supposed to probably hit. I guess he did hit some of these side creeps. Never mind. Maybe his Farseer was hitting them instead of the wolves. I'm not actually sure what's the most efficient. But yeah, undead finding the Farseer, resummon of the wolves. Might see an ensnare. We do see an ensnare. Undead could go for the wolf, but it's not exactly in an ideal position for him. And Etaphraven gets the last hit actually. Very nice snipe with the Farseer. Wolf dropping low. Coil comes on the Farseer. I believe that was intended, but it is possible he wanted to hit the wolf and get the XP. And we see the Farseer going to probably have to back off soon, but he does have a replenishment potion, so if he uses that soon, he can stick around. A little late on it though. He probably could have been a bit healthier already, and these wolves will not be able to accomplish much on their own. You really want the Farseer also damaging. Maybe see a deny. Ooh, miss micro there. He forgot to select the Farseer individually, which meant when you attack move the wolf, it will turn around to also attack stuff in the area. Undead, on the other hand, has opted for 6th Acolyte, 3rd Zig, and Fiends again. So, with level 2 now, he will likely pick up 1 or 2 sacrificial skulls, maybe a second rod, and even a ritual dagger. And we will see our tower push. But as I said earlier, I believe this unit composition for Etaphraven should be much better equipped to handle this. And wolves as well are pretty good at taking out acolytes. So it'll be interesting to see how this is done here. Another thing he could have done is start waking up these shop creeps to ensnare the fiends along the way. I would actually like his headhunters to maybe get pulled back more here, but he might be able to get some early damage done, which can be pretty strong, particularly if he gets these ghouls killed right away and then salves up at home. Honestly, not a terrible use of the TP. Gets a ghoul, damages another. He would have really liked to kill the second ghoul, but he also reaches his shop sooner, and getting his heals off will be huge. And we see a TC second. So I thought maybe it would be a tavern hero, because Tavern Heroes can be pretty strong against tower pushes, but Orcs do have pretty good heroes themselves. You just have to wait a little bit longer for them. And yeah, we see this one burrow getting targeted a bit. Should see some repair out, and with this high count of headhunters, it should be quite hard for the undead to push too far in to kill that. One headhunter dropping weak, level 2 reached on the Farseer. He is protected with a potion of healing as well, so he would actually like to tank a bit here. I think that's maybe why he's moving his Farseer so far forward. And TC is now out. Will be interesting to see if it is Shockwave or Stomp. Sometimes Shockwave can be better against a tower push, for instance, but Stomp is of course very powerful against Fiends. We do see Stomp, 2 Fiends hit by it, towers cancelled, Chain Lightning coming out. One more Fiend should probably be going down. Okay, he actually Ritual Daggered it. And yeah, the Acolyte's going down. Our Undead will likely gather resources real quick to hit that 210 wood mark and start teching up in response to being defended like this. He's currently a little bit busy though, still trying to back off properly, get any pickoffs he can. And his Death Knight's in a bit of rough shape here. Not level 3 yet, half health, 1 coil only available. Orc on the other hand does have less XP, but with second hero out should be quite a bit stronger. However, might not necessarily be stronger to a creepjack, and that's what we see is the Undead wanting to keep pressure with his high Fiend count. We do see a bestiary along the way. Yeah, likely will be both sides just kind of jockeying for position here. And if anything occurs, it will likely be the result of a Stomp. We do see a surround here, maybe? Okay, he does close it just in time. A coil does come out. Probably not the wisest coil, especially with the Fiend dying instantly right after. And we do see some blocks here. Death Knight getting caught out of position. Oh, I don't think he meant to put it so far into the Orc army. I think he wanted to go up sooner. However, little miss micro there. Death Knight does fall, and that will give a lot of space for the Orc now. That is exactly what he wanted, because honestly they were kind of even-ish. Like, the Orc couldn't really take camps easily with the Undead just kind of sitting nearby with Unholy Aura and stuff. But with that Death Knight kill, there's a ton of space now. And he did manage to tech in a reasonable time. I'm a little surprised to see a Spirit Tower here though. That is an interesting choice. I'm not exactly sure what prompted that. Or how early it got built. Maybe he thought when he was going to go tower push, the Farseer would come in and harass a bit. But even then, you generally want a Nerubian instead. The value of slow is very strong. And we see a Tavern by on the Death Knight, but there is a Raider there, and he does have Ensnare, as well as 1 Stomp available. And this Death Knight's going to fall again. Ooh. Awkward timing there for Cuddle. He calls the GG, and we have a 1-1. So a very nice turnaround from Raven there. He countered it just how I expected he wanted to. He was like, I do not want to die to another Undead tower push. I am going Farseer Headhunters. And that's what happened. He fought it off handedly. There wasn't really... I mean, the scariest moment for Etaphraven there was when his Farseer dropped to like below 50 health and had to TP. But it wasn't even necessarily bad because it got him to his shop quicker. It got him so he could salve up his Farseer, his Headhunter. He did buy a heal potion as well. I probably would have preferred to see a speed scroll, but you know, setting up back in your base can be pretty important. Some other things that could have been done, I think I mentioned along the way, is those shops and sometimes even the lab are very susceptible to being pulled while the opponent walks over to tower push. So Etaphraven could have gone for that if he hadn't had his Farseer so weak. But otherwise, yeah, good play by him to deflect a tower push play. And I was honestly a little bit surprised to see the tower push used again, especially after he saw the Farseer. Since the Undead, I believe, didn't really scout fully into the Orc base though, maybe he thought it was like a Farseer fast tech rather than Farseer headhunters. And in that case, it definitely still could have worked out for the Undead. But with that high count of headhunters, with a war mill already up, it's just really tough to push against that as the Undead player. And yeah, we have our game 3 here, and it looks like it is going to be Echo Isles. And this is actually our Undead player's map. So I believe Undeads that favor this map usually prefer fast expansion play. So maybe a Crypt Lord could be seen here. But given the Crypt plus Graveyard at the start, it may actually just be the same build again, which would be Death Knight, lots of Fiends, and Tower Push. And Tower Push can also still be strong on this map. The distance between the two bases isn't too large, and it's hard to get a lot of effective creeping in before the Tower Push. Etaphraven, however, is changing it up. Maybe he's thinking, okay, there's no way Cuddle runs it a third time, right? And so he's going back to his Grunt build. I mean, you can still hold that Tower Push with a Grunt build, but it will be up to him to scout it if it is indeed coming or not, and then react accordingly, try to pick off Acolytes along the way, maybe lure creeps to get some ensnares off on Fiends. And the important part is, don't take damage on like anything if possible until you're actually ready to fight. Something that many people will do against a tower push is they'll immediately rush in, they think they have to attack right away, and then they'll just have half their units at half health right away, and they end up kind of just out of commission, not being able to do much. But if you wait till you actually have your full force ready, that can be a strong way to defend this off. I think Hitman, for instance, is very disciplined at doing that. You will often see him do just some poking with his hero, or heroes with like Shadowhunter second, and then he'll wait a long time. I've seen it against like Foggy's Archer Ancient of War push, for instance. He'll wait a long time, and then right when he hits his marker where he feels like his army's strong enough, he'll bring everything out, and you know, that's when the real fight takes place. So we'll see if Etaphraven can also do such a thing. We did see in the first game his grunts dropped weak a little too early. But yeah, we do see a Farseer again. So even though he went grunt build, he did go for the Farseer this time, feeling confident that he can defend with the grunt build instead if the tower push does come again. Putting some nice damage here. He did get a little bit close to getting surrounded, but managed to scrape out with his FS. And these wolves aren't really being dealt with. The grunt is dropping low, and one acolyte actually falls. Wolves about to expire anyways, and they are immediately resummoned. We do not have a shop yet, but I think that's what this peon is currently going to do. It is.
Forces are under attack.
He definitely needed that for this grunt. It is already half health. And being able to get back to his base and heal this grunt before a tower push comes is actually going to be quite key here. You would like to continue slowing down the undead's creeping if this is indeed another tower push. but getting your unit healed up is also very important, because those salves, although they have a lot of healing, I believe they take around 45 seconds or so to finish up that 400 healing. So it's definitely not instant. And we do see a difference here. It is the tech by our undead player. Does pick off the wolf there. I believe he picked off one earlier as well. Grunt ensnared and taking a lot of damage. Should be able to protect it. There was a coil available, but with over 200 health and potential blocking of the orc, could definitely save that. Yeah, I believe he will also confirm that it is a tech, and now we will see how they play when the game actually goes longer. From our orc side, his tech is finished. Third burrow also finished at basically the perfect timing. TC instantly queued. Bestiary also put up. Is this grunt being snared? Nice. Should be able to get this creep done. Will take a bit of damage, but he also has 2 grunts here he needs to salve as well. Undead, on the other hand, nearing level 2 finally, because of those 2 wolf kills plus the 1 camp here. Gets a glove of haste, which not particularly great right now, but can be useful on the lich. Third zig and an early attack upgrade. I've definitely done that myself sometimes as undead, where you just feel like you have extra gold, so why not, right? But sometimes it can actually be quite bad, because there is actually a lot you want to do right when you hit tier 2. You want your lich, you want your slaughterhouse so you can start getting statues, and you still want tier 3 because you want to get Orb of Corruption as fast as possible. So we'll see if that small investment to the attack upgrade pays off or not. It could also imply that the undead is maybe looking for a tier 2 tower push still. It is a viable strategy with Frost Armor Lich. Yeah, we see our TC coming in, our salve train. He got the 2 other grunts healed. Gets the salve on the Farseer as well. And now his goal will be to reach level 3 on the TC as soon as possible. But what do we have here for our undead? He's looking to push in, getting burrow right away. And a 4th zig, so no quick tech, no hero yet. And he's likely just trying to target these burrows down while he can. TP kind of on the fiends here. Gets 1 fiend surrounded and the DK kind of trapped on the wrong side here. Might be able to get a grunt kill in return, but the DK will likely have to... Oh, he squeezes out. He squeezes out. Okay, Raider getting focused. Does have level 2 coil available now, as well as a wand of mana stealing, which actually was pretty good here. The TC cannot even get a second stomp after that steal, and he manages to pick off the Raider with a nice little bit of focus there. Still has a rod at 3 charges, Lich coming on the way, and he is actually going tier 3. We aren't going to see any tier 2 push shenanigans. So we are going the full distance here on game 3. Orc player did lose his burrow, but gets another one set up and also reinforced defenses, so we won't have to worry about another push against them later. Our orc player does not have a TP anymore, however, but with wolves and double speed scroll should be able to respawn in a reasonable time. The undead, however, is actually going back again, but with reinforced defenses up, killing the shop is about the best he can do here. Maybe a peon kill, but I don't think it's even valuable to use mana on the peon. Yeah, orc arrived pretty quickly. A little bit low mana on both orc heroes. He has 1 stomp available and 1 more set of wolves available. Both wolves dying right away. Frost armor does come out. Stomp coming out. Level 2 achieved on the TC. We will see that aura coming into effect soon. Fiend's starting to get focused, but with the Frost Armor slow, this Orc army moving pretty slowly. Raider picked off. Undead trying to get a better position here, but the Undead army is looking quite weak. However, it will be up to how much effect these skeletons can have, but with level 2 wolves on the field, skeletons and ghouls lose a lot of their effectiveness. Our Orc still is not actually skilled as TC, maybe just a bit too much, or too busy microing everything else during that fight. Does get his Endurance Aura now. Still has a replenishment potion as well, which can be quite effective later, combined with an invuln, for instance. But yeah, Cuddle's army kind of got decimated there. I think since he was going tier 3, he probably should have just pulled back and crept a lot more, rather than committing there. I think he was hoping there wouldn't be reinforced defenses, but as we saw, Etaphraven prepared. He didn't want to lose any more burrows, and Cuddle just wasn't able to accomplish much. He did take out the shop though, and there is currently not a shop rebuilt yet. So if Etaphraven does not realize that, there is an opportunity for him to get punished for that with not having readily available heals. However, for the time being, he does still have 2 salves and the replenishment potion. His Farseer... yeah, I thought he was sending his Farseer to buy something, but... Undead, on the other hand, just looking to get levels. We'll likely aim for level 4 and level 3, and then we'll pick up a 3rd hero, possibly Tavern hero. We do see a heal potion on the DK as well. Orc, on the other hand, just looking to also continue creeping, and he doesn't need to play aggressive. He's already 3-3, his army's strong, he has an expansion getting close to done. He's heading tier 3 himself now as well, getting some upgrades. So very good position for our Orc player. Would be nice to see a heal scroll soon. Undead will oftentimes focus quite a bit, but with Nova being an AoE spell, as well as, of course, skeletons and potentially ghouls sometimes just doing what they will, heal scroll can definitely be pretty good for all these high count of units, seeing as he has headhunters in his build. We shall see what he chooses to buy. I assume it will be an invuln for the TC once he passes his claws over, and then a heal scroll, maybe even an invis potion. Okay, we do see the heal scroll. No second heal scroll, no invis potion. Undead, on the other hand, just kind of chilling. I think he was too afraid to move out further on the map, and now he's just waiting until he actually has his full army.
A player's forces are under attack.
I feel like he really needed to take the risk though, because reaching level 3 Lich and level 4 DK would help a lot. He did, however, get that wolf there and reached level 4. Interestingly, he has 3 burrowed fiends. I'm not sure if that's just to hide his army strength or what. But yeah, Etaphraven might have only seen the 3 statues and 2 fiends and been like, okay, whatever. I'm not that scared of destroyers. But with those 3 extra fiends that were hidden, you know, this Undead army is actually somewhat strong. I assume we should see some Chain Morph here, and then also a Dark Ranger pickup. Unless he Chain Morphs another. He does. He's going Chain Morph all the way. So this is kind of like an all-in push from the Undead. Triple... oh my... Triple Chain Morph with full mana, and then, you know, the 4th Destroyer, of course, as well. No statues on the field, though. And we see Protection plus Heal Scroll. This could be pretty strong if Etaphraven is not prepared. Etaphraven now setting up a shop, which will be crucial, but I don't know if he'll be able to get it up. one headhunter getting picked off immediately, and an ensnare coming off in tower range will be very strong against this destroyer. Etaphraven has broke as well, so he should be able to get a decent army count, and the destroyer's mana is starting to drop quite low. Not the greatest stomp, mostly hitting like one ghoul and one fiend, and this Farseer needs to be extremely careful. He has no protection, could pass the invuln, but with the coil coming out, Farseer does fall. However, the Undead army is definitely not in great shape either, but this Orc army has kind of been decimated after this. There is not much here for him. And with the coil coming out on one of the destroyers, that destroyer is looking healthy again. And the Orc just kind of needs to turtle a bit and hide behind these towers. Does have a Shadow Hunter, a Raider, and a Headhunter reinforcement, but the Headhunter just immediately picked off. You really need to make sure your whole army is grouped together with these weak 2 food units. And the Shadow Hunter as well. Just too much nuke damage, ends up getting picked off. This TC still very scary, but now that there's a level 5 Death Knight on the field, it's going to be rough for our Orc player. And with this rally point, you gotta be very careful. More free kills for our Undead, picking off that Headhunter. The shop here will help, but not if the units just flat out die before they can get back to be salved. And the shop is going to be picked off. TC can't buy anything, he has no inventory space. Farseer almost back, but we see ghouls and more statues on the way. Statues will be crucial here for our Undead. That's the big thing, right? Like, this was an all-in destroyer morph push, which has resulted in him not having much sustain because of the statues. But since he accomplished so much in his unit kills, he's not in a terrible position. But once these statues start getting back on the field, this Undead should start to take a commanding lead. However, our Orc player, on the other hand, is still mining from 2 bases. So if the Undead takes too long, we could see our Orc get back into it. We have a Kodo out, we have 2 more Headhunters. This time they were rallied at the main so that they didn't walk into the Undead army. Undead backed off a bit. Unsure where he is exactly going. I think he just wanted to meet his statue sooner, which is definitely good. Probably should start manually casting the statue for a while to get mana and health, because you can activate both manually rather than having one auto cast to get more effect. Yeah, bats coming out. I do not believe there is web, but the Nova and the focus of the Lich, very nice. Actually managed to pick off the bat. Etaphraven opting for the chase here, manages to get a fiend even, and the statue kind of left behind gets morphed without draining the mana first too. Definitely not ideal for our Undead player. I was actually a little worried for Etaphraven chasing that, but they ended up being good pickoffs, and the Undead just didn't have much yet because he has not managed to get much mana. I think he just needs, like I said, some more manual statue usage, and oof, that Orb of Lightning Purge, that is huge. Our Undead player is just falling apart now. He didn't manage to get his statues back in time, and this Orb of Lightning Purge, the stomp, baiting the Undead into a fight, and now it's just more pickoffs. Orb of Lightning Purge, level 5 TC. Oh my god. We were sitting here with 1 tower, 1 burrow, and a TC against like 2 destroyers, level 5 DK, level 4 Lich, and like 4 or 5 fiends. And the TC held. Do not underestimate the cow. And now with his army actually grouped back up together, you know, that Orb of Lightning putting in work right away on the Shadow Hunter. TC 5, Farseer 4.6, very nice ensnare, picking off that destroyer. Etaphraven starting to take a commanding position here. We do see the Undead expansion up, but without anything to defend this, The Orc's just going to be walking over him here. Might see Berserk form come out after the Nova. You prefer to not have Nova hit while you have Berserk Former because it does increase the damage taken. But yeah, this is the Orc army just decimating. And Cuddle calls GG. We see a nice 2-1 from Etaphraven. That was a very close series. Oh my, I was not expecting that to go as it did. That third game, especially, where we actually got to see them go the full distance, actually play out their strategies rather than a tower push, and then that all-in destroyer chain morph. That was some old school Undead where you just normally you go for burrows with it, but with tier 2 fortify, oof. Very nice hold from Etaphraven. There was some couple of missed micros with his headhunters rallied to like his TC or whatever, but in the end held on strong enough. There was not statue reinforcements fast enough, and the Undead just did not have the extended sustain to hold that. But yeah, we shall see if he wants a winner interview. Start a voice call. Okay. Let me get him on the line here. Yo.
Hello, hello.
That series, though, what was going on? What was going through your head through those games?
It was so bad. You have no idea.
So
where do we start?
Let's actually talk about the third game first.
Sure.
Just because it's fresh in our mind. Yeah. So you were sitting there with a couple headhunters getting picked off from the rally points. You had like a TC level 4, a burrow, and a tower, and you were against like a level 5 DK, 2 destroyers, like 4+ fiends, a level 3 or 4 lich, and you got him to back off.
I don't know how I did that. What happened?
I'm not totally sure, but oh yeah, N Williams, thanks for the raid. You're just in time for the winner interview. But yeah, oh my god, I think it was because he went for an all-in with quadruple statues into destroyers. He did not actually have any statues left for sustained healing, and we saw his DK, even though he was level 5 and had the level 4 aura. There were no statues on the field. There was no mana regain. There was no statue heal. And I think that was where he started to get a bit nervous and just didn't want to fight against repair rate, I guess, and he backed off. I believe you also stomped and killed one fiend, and that's what prompted that. But man, that was... What was going through your head at that moment? Did you think you had lost, or were you still...
I was struggling the entire time during that sequence. So after he attacked my base, I was in a horrible position where none of my units can reach his units. They were just running around in circles, so the fiends picked everything off. I couldn't pass anything to my Farseer. I was too slow, and then everything suddenly died. So every headhunter was just running around. That burrow and that tower actually was pretty bad positioning because it blocked my pathing, so I couldn't reach his destroyers when they moved back. I couldn't kill anything, and then I kept losing one thing after another. after my Shadow Hunter died, I was like, oh, I should have passed the orb to my TC because that could have at least done something like hit air, but I didn't do that. And then I was stuck with like 20 wood, so I couldn't build anything for a good amount of time. It was just like disastrous in all levels. But I was surprised I was able to come back. I don't know how that happened. I guess the gold advantage eventually caught up.
Yeah, I think a combination of the gold advantage and just, like I said, not having statues, not having that extra sustain can really hurt Undead in the long run. I think if he had maybe not morphed one of his statues or had got another reinforcement statue sooner, definitely could have played in his favor a bit better. But yeah, that was a crazy. I would call it a comeback. I would definitely say you were just about down and out there, but you persevered through and got the win. So that was pretty clutch by you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we can talk about those other two games now. So first game, we'll go in order on these two. First game, were you expecting the tower push? Like, how soon did you identify it? I mean, I guess you identified it pretty soon because you were close, but like...
Yeah, I saw it as soon as he unsummoned his altar, and then I saw an acolyte with his army, with a couple of ghouls. And my thought was to slow it down somehow by picking off his acolytes, but then he was able to heal them, so I couldn't really do anything with one grunt and blade against like 2 ghouls, 3 fiends, and I don't know, 3 acolytes. It was pretty hard to stop that ball rolling from his base to mine. At that point, I thought the best thing to do is hire a secondary hero from Tavern, just try to stop it, but honestly, I didn't know what to do with that situation because I never played against something like that. If you pick Shadow Hunter, you're just gonna get 1 or 2 heals, or you hex 2 units. It still doesn't stop the towers nor his 40 supply of units from stomping you. If you go TC, it still doesn't do much because you stomp, you don't have enough units to kill his towers go up. So maybe I should have went Tinker. I don't really know. I don't. Yeah, what would you do in that situation?
I would say it was almost like a build order loss at that point. You had, a fairly fast tech with the 1 burrow, and you really only had 1 grunt at the point where he had like 4 fiends marching across, 2 ghouls as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much you could have done, but I think generally the best bet ends up being probably a war mill as soon as possible, as well as I was mentioning on stream earlier that oftentimes against some of these tower pushes, the key is to be pretty disciplined with your units, especially because if you have a bunch that are like half health or get picked off before you really commit to a full-on fight, you just never end up being able to really take a fight, and you're always sitting there with like 1 blade and 1 or 2 grunts every time you go in, and that just does not end up being enough. So, something like that where maybe just holding back for a longer period, but it can be really scary to do that as well when there's 4 or 5 fiends knocking at your door, towers coming up. So I don't know, it's definitely just very stressful. So
yeah, I think I just panicked and I didn't know what to do. But yeah, the war mill suggestion is definitely good because I would be able to get a demolisher up and then deal with the towers. But in a prolonged fight with fiends against demolishers, it's kind of sketch. I'm not sure who's gonna win.
Yeah, and then the second game, right from the start, I was commenting, okay, he saw the tower push, he wants no more of that. He's going Farseer, he's got the war mill coming up, he's going headhunters. We probably won't see a tower push this game because, if you see Farseer headhunters, you really don't want to push that because he already has the war mill, he already has high unit count. But he did opt to tower push again, and you pretty comfortably held it. How were you feeling that game? Did you feel like, okay, I can do this, I can take this back? Or
Yeah, I
what were your
was
thoughts?
way more comfortable fighting against the tower push second time around because I thought it was probably a psychological thing, but just in case, I should just go headhunters and be prepared against something like that. And it actually worked out. So I saw him coming. I had 6 headhunters beating him halfway, just poking and trying to slow him down as much as possible. He forced the TP on me. That was not planned, but he was just right-clicking my hero, and well, it was already like half health because I was harassing.
Yeah.
So I decided to just heal up at base, prepare for the inevitable push. And when he came, my second hero's out, so I have more control over the units, stop and secure some kills, and then make him back off. It's a lot easier to deal with towers going up when you have a lot of headhunters versus 2 grunts.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too worried. And then even if he decides to change it up and then tech for late game, I can still tech to tier 3 with troll berserkers, and that'll still be a viable strategy against that. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt it was a much stronger showing against it. I actually thought the Undead wouldn't attempt it again after seeing the Farseer, but I'm not sure if he really saw headhunters at all until he was actually heading out. So maybe he wasn't totally prepared for those. Maybe he thought it was like just a fast tech or something. Yeah, you handled it well.
Maybe he thought. Yeah, I think maybe he didn't scout properly. He thought I was fast teching. So he overcommitted.
He definitely had a lot more focus on just getting his stuff out. There wasn't like an early Acolyte scout or anything. So, but yeah, otherwise, the only other thing, I feel like your TP was fine, especially because you got like a ghoul kill in return, weakened another, possibly gotten to use a coil. Like, that's pretty good, as well as getting back to your shop quicker to heal. The only other thing I would mention is on maps like that, you do actually also have some opportunity to pull creeps along the way. So both shop camps, for instance, have ensnare creeps and are pretty close to the path line when they're marching across. So that is something to keep in mind on certain maps like that. But yeah, otherwise, you had the right, like everything else. You had it down. You got the defense, and you picked off the Death Knight later after the tower push failed, and just kind of secured the game at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, what are your thoughts on the series? Was it as close as you thought it would be? Were you expecting to win to begin with, or what were your thoughts?
No, I didn't have any expectations. I mean, we were both 1630 or something like that. I think skill level wise are probably even, or he's afraid of playing standard maybe. So I'm pretty comfortable playing against standard because I have more practice against it. But like when somebody does something like a off meta strategy, it's hard to predict what they're gonna go, I guess, because the third game I was debating on going Blade Master, but again, there's always that threat of him going the tower rush push again. So I decided to go Farseer, and yeah, that I actually even over prepared because I went a second burrow first to ensure I have enough grunts indeed in case he has another push coming. So that worked out in my favor. I mean, I was just adjusting on the fly against a player like that. If it was more of a standard game, or if it was a game where he played standard twice and then he comes out with a curveball, I probably would have lost because I didn't know this was coming. But since he did it first and second game, it was on my mind the entire time. So yeah.
It's definitely interesting. You went for somewhat of a hybrid, getting rid of the headhunters that time, but still going the Farseer, and were fairly well protected. You did end up confirming pretty early, I believe, that he was teching, so when you were harassing at his base, and your harass was actually okay-ish. I think maybe you lost some wolves, but you did quite a bit of damage and killed some acolyte, or one of the acolytes, so that was pretty good. What else to say? So yeah, Cuddle's a replacement, right? He just got put into the league over Angry Korean Man, I believe.
Yes, that's
right. Yeah, just jumped into it. That was his first game, I believe, as well, since he was a little late to get into the league. And it, based on how close the series was, it looks like he fits in quite well. You, on the other hand, have already reached 3-0, I believe, all 3 series being 2-1 victories in your favor. How are you feeling about your group moving forward? You're definitely like the front runner right now, so.
Well, I didn't think I would be the front runner. I thought I was placed too high. In fact, I looked at some of the other people's stats, and they play way more, and they're 1700 to 1600. When I first placed, I was placed 1500 because I had such a bad placement. So I thought I was ill prepared for this bracket, but this group, I mean. And last season I played against Frozen Yeti before, and I got destroyed 2-0. So definitely looking for revenge against him.
Okay. Yeah. Other than that, I think anything left out from the game? Otherwise, got any shout outs? I will plug your stream as well in my channel, but you can plug anything else you want if you have.
Oh yeah, so I'm also one of the community streamers for the Wool League, Wash Up League. I'm planning on, doing any. I'll be planning to do more streams for casting, whenever I can. Obviously, it's more fun when we do dual casts, but yeah, let me know. Plugging you as well. Shout out to your streams. They're quite educational and informative.
Oh, thanks, Steve. But yeah, I think that's it for now then, right?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for the games. Right. Close series. And yeah, you managed to pull it out in the end.
All right, cool.
See you.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
So yeah, that was Etaphraven getting the close 2-1 win over Cuddle. It definitely looked very scary in that third game. He was down to his last bit of defense with the TC, the tower, the burrow, and then Cuddle felt, a little bit worried about committing to it and pulled back to regroup with his statue, get some health off of his statue. But by that time, as we saw, the Farseer got back out. Shadow Hunter soon after, because it was only level 1, and then there was like a Kodo and 2 Headhunters. Expansion started paying off, and eventually Cuddle just kind of, got picked apart and missed his timing to fully commit to that. But yeah, that was some good games. I believe the series before that as well, Wantu versus Zico, was also a 2-1. So we got to see both series play out fully.